you. My 11-year-old granddaughter, Ava, recently heard some of my stories. And she said, Papa, you've seen it all. And while that's obviously not true, you can look at my hair and see that I've seen more than most of you. I do know something about the water, by the way. I grew up on a dryland cotton farm in Jackson County. I met Gail, my wife of more than 48 years, 50 years ago. And one of our first dates was at a picnic at Lake Eufaula, on one of the sandy beaches on Lake Eufaula. I've lived most of my life in Oklahoma City. And Don Faulkner, my grass has been green, and my flowers have been growing for 40 years there. I've also seen water from another angle that really is why I wanted to make just a few remarks today. When I first went to the legislature 49 years ago, I was the author of a bill that rewrote the Oklahoma water law. I worked with the University of Oklahoma, with the Oklahoma Conservation Commission, with the Oklahoma Water Resources Board on redoing the Oklahoma water law. As Attorney General, I worked on the Red River Compact. I even worked on the Sardis Lake project. Over the last several years, I've worked with many people in this auditorium on matters relating to water. Almost 2 years ago, I was hired by Oklahomans for Responsible Water Policy to give them legal advice and counsel, which I've done with great enthusiasm. I also represent the citizens group called the Association for Protection of Oklahoma Water. And both of those organizations are formed and committed to calling attention to the importance of water to Southeast Oklahoma, requesting that anything going forward, whether it be legislation or litigation, be done carefully, thoughtfully, and lawfully. Don Faulkner said that if folks are trying to take water out of Southeast Oklahoma, they're going to have a fight on their hands. Well, I'm packing one of the pistols for Don Faulkner. I'm on their side. I think they're right, morally, socially, and for this conversation, legally. I do want to request one thing of you committee members and your colleagues. I do have a lot invested in research relating to the water issues in Oklahoma. I would be pleased and honored to work with your staff as you go through your hearings and your deliberations. I'm not sure that we can give them anything that's more helpful than they will dig up on their own. But maybe there's something in my gray hair that they don't have. Because I have seen a lot. I've loved a lot. I love my state. And I want to be a part of making it bigger and stronger. Thank you for being here in my wife's home country, which frankly is, if I married, my home country. Thanks for listening to my friends. You know that they have passion, but they also have compassion. And that's not a bad combination for folks that really want to live in peace with the resources that God gave them and that they hope will be there forever. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call on Senator Jerry Ellis for any comments he may have and for an introduction.
Thank you, Senator Craig. Just quickly, I want to make some comments here about, I think, Representative Pruitt, if I understood it correctly, he was talking about that they were wanting to offer like 10 cents on the dollar. Oklahoma City. It's going to be divided up. When it gets here, you might get a red light from Hurd County in exchange for your water. And that's what you're going to get. It's been talked about that we need money for aquifers, and we need money for stream flow, so we'll know how much ground and surface water that we have. And I couldn't agree more, Senator Crane. Texas recently on Proposition 2 that was put on the ballot November the 8th, they voted to allow up to $6 billion in bonding to address water infrastructure, educating the people on conservation, and building desalination plants and reservoirs. They have 26 more reservoirs proposed for 2012. I think this has come about because they lost in the federal courts September the 7th in the Board of Appeals in Denver. And the only resource that they have now is to go to the U.S. Supreme Court. And so I think now they're seriously thinking about going back and taking care of the state of Texas, which is what they should have done all along. It's not the job of any state to take care of another state, and it's certainly not our job to take care of Texas. They have wells, build reservoirs, conservation plan, which they're not enforcing. They're watering the sidewalks in Dallas, and they can build desalination plants, which they're now proposing. Now you look at Oklahoma City, who is interested in water. They got Garber Wellington aquifer there that they're setting on that they've made no attempt to use. No attempt. Vast amount of water. Call Reservoir to the north has more water than Sardis Lake, and it is closer. Plus, it'd be coming downhill. They could have dredged out their reservoirs in Oklahoma City. I think Don Faulkner referred to 7 of them that they had. They made no attempt to dredge those out, to my knowledge, while the drought was going on. That's what we do to farm ponds with this dry weather. We clean them out so they'll hold water. And they need to get back to better management and quit giving their money to lawyers.
I'm not sure I disagree with that. You're right.
And as far as what are we going to get out of this, Atoka Lake was promised, the people around Atoka and McGee Creek were promised 50 years ago that you're going to get growth, you're going to get jobs. They got picnic tables. That's all they got was picnic tables in exchange for the water. We do not have trust, and the reason is, one of the things is, in April 2010, I guess it was, former Governor Henry and now this present governor, each one of them has made at least one appointment to the Water Resource Board. I brought it to your attention in April 2010. We have failed to get anybody from the southeast quadrant of the state on the Water Resource Board. So we have concerns down here. It's a valuable resource, and as far as jobs in the future, I'm going to introduce a guy to you that's going to tell you about 500 good jobs in this county that were placed in jeopardy this last summer. And at this time, I want to introduce to you Todd Crutcher, Manager of International Paper. Thank you.
Well, my name is Todd Crutcher, and I've only been here a short time. As a matter of fact, I've been here 3 years. You guys, if you are, I think I can count those. I worked in paper mills all over this country, from New York State to Pensacola, Florida, Camden, Arkansas, several places in Louisiana, and now in Oklahoma. And I can tell you, water is one of those things you just sort of take for granted. I don't know how you guys are, but I can tell you, when I came to Oklahoma and I came to the Valiant Mills and we looked over the things we had in play, the last thing I thought about was, do we have enough water? That came to a real quick stop this summer. I think we were on the drought record. We get our water from the paper mill at Pine Creek Lake. Those of you who frequent that part of the world over there, you know that the Pine Creek Lake got to a very low level this year. To such a low level that I was worried and was making plans, if we ran out of water, what would we do? Now, those of you may have, you guys have people that you know that work at the paper mill besides you. Now you know me, right? But there are good paying jobs at the paper mill. There's 500 good paying jobs there, and I can tell you that the impact of the community is significant. So I will just share with you this: as you begin to consider water and water use, for Oklahoma or any other place, you need to understand that it's a commodity that's oftentimes misunderstood and overlooked. Don't allow that to happen, because businesses like our business depend on water, just like we depend on natural gas, or like we depend on wood, electricity, for those good people out there that work here today and make all that possible. Our contribution to the economy is not quite what you guys see at Broken Bow, but it's about $400 million a year, and it's something we can't afford to have go away or in any way after it. So, Senator, thank you for taking a moment to introduce me. I didn't exactly look forward to this, but I'm okay at the end of it.
Senator McCurtain, will you hear one more person stay away? 5 minutes.
Well, that was actually why I was coming up here, was to say that is the extent of all the people who have signed up. But if anybody else wants to speak, please go ahead and raise your hand. I will tell you that brevity is an incredible blessing. But ma'am, please come on up.